Okay, let me record it. See, as part of SSIS, we have two topics pending, right? So those are transactions and then performance tuning of SSIS, right? So transactions, I think in SQL Server you have read about the transactions, right? So like commit rollback. So in SSIS also we have transactions where if any of the operations successfully executes, the transaction should commit. Or if any transaction, if let's say any of the transaction fails here or any of the task fails, it has to roll back the previous transaction as well. The agenda here is transactions. Either the transaction should fully complete or either the transaction either the transaction should fully complete or none of the transaction shouldn't complete, which means partial transactions it won't allow. Meaning, so partial transactions in the sense, let's say in SSIS we have three tasks here, right? And if you're trying to delete data here and if you're trying to insert here, but while inserting data it got failed due to some issues. So when this task fails, the previous transaction also should get rolled back. That is what the meaning is. So either the transaction should fully complete, which means when you implement a package transactions, all the tasks within the package should successfully execute. Or if any of the tasks fails in between, the previously executed task also should get rolled back, which means let's say you're deleting data here, the deleting a data also should get reversed. Once you delete, if any task fails here, the deletion of data also should get reversed, which means this is successfully executed, but the next immediate task get fails. Whatever the data which we have deleted here, that should get rolled back to the table, right? So that is what the transaction either should fully complete or none of the transaction should not complete, either fully complete or don't complete partial transactions, right? Partial transaction is nothing but either all the tasks within the package successfully execute, or if any one of the tasks fails, roll back the previous successful execution of the task. That is what it means, right? So how to achieve the transactions is, let's say I'll take an example of inserting data or deleting data, both. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll try to choose data insertion as well as data deletion. 1 second guys, I'm getting a call. So yeah, so what I'm gonna do is I'll just try to use one insert statement here in the second task, in the execute SQL task, and then whatever the data which I'm going to insert this table, before inserting I'll just try to delete it. Okay, before inserting I'll try to delete the data. Delete from table name. So first I'm going to delete data before inserting into the destination, and once I delete, here I am inserting the data. So let me try to make some syntax mistakes here. Okay, If it fails, the deleted data also should get rolled back, right? So let's check that. I'll just rename the task, delete employee. Insert employee. Okay. And see, now we don't have any transactions as of now. If we delete it, it won't roll back again, right? I'll show you that. So before that, let me execute the data in this table and show it to you. Select star from. Yeah. As of now, we have 25 rows in this table, right? So what I'll do is I will execute the package. We'll see what happens. We did not implement transactions yet. I'm executing the normal package now. See, here we are deleting the data and here we are inserting. Insert is failed, right? So if you check the data now, the delete statement is executed successfully and data is deleted, right? But since due to my issues with the insert statement, it got failed. If I rectify it and if I can execute, it will run fine. It will insert the data. But since it got failed, the previous transaction also should get rolled back. That is what my requirement, right? So that we can achieve using transactions. So now let me execute the inserting data into the destination before implementing a transaction so that I can show you the data, right? So previously data is there, it will truncate and then it should reload. Yeah, now there are 4 records in the destination. Okay. And now we are going to implement the transactions, right? So to implement the transactions, we have to go to control flow. Anyway, click on the design pane and go to properties and check the transaction options here. So there is an option called transaction here, and you can see 3 options: not supported, supported, and then required. So by default, the option is supported, which means it will support the transaction if it is existing. All right. So I'll just write down the 3 options here: not supported, supported, and then required. So these are the 3 transaction options available, right? So not supported means transaction itself doesn't exist. Transaction doesn't exist. And if it is supported, it will use the existing transaction. Existing transaction. And for required, it will create the new transaction. Right? So not supported means it doesn't create any transaction. Supported means if there is existing transaction already, it will use the transaction. And required means the transaction needs to initiate it, which means using this option, we can create a transaction. So as of now in SSIS, we don't have any transaction, right? So in the control flow level, the overall control flow level, we need to initiate the transaction. So for that, click on the control flow and then choose required. Or maybe for this task, use required. Click on the task and then choose required. And for the next task, choose supported. Why? Because we have already initiated the transaction here, and then this task will get executed. This task will get utilized that existing transaction. If this is not the case, you can also do one more thing, which is you can drag a sequence container and then put these 2 tasks within the sequence container. We can do this way, right? And now what you need to do, instead of giving required for this task, give the required for sequence container, right? So I'll just change it to supported. And here for the sequence container, the whole sequence container, the transaction will get initiated if you use required, right? So I have taken those 2 tasks within the sequence container, and for sequence container, I have used transaction option as required, and for each individual tasks, I have used transaction option as supported, which means there is an existing transaction for the sequence container, use the transaction. That is what I have set it for these two tasks, which is supported, right? So save it. And now I'm going to execute the package. And before that, let me do syntax error here. Why I'm making syntax error is, if the task fails, it should roll back the previous transaction as well. That is what I'm going to do. So before that, let me show you the data in the destination. So we have a data here. Let me execute the package. It got failed. What it is saying? The SSIS runtime has failed to start the distributed transaction due to error. The transaction manager is not available. The DTC transaction failed to start. This could occur because the MS DTC service is not running, which means this service we have to enable it in our laptop, right? So try to check that. What is the service? MS DTC, right? So try to check here, MS DTC service. So where exactly we need to enable that? We have to check that. So maybe let's check it in the browser. MS DTC. How to enable MS DTC service, right? So here expand component services, open component services. So go to search and then open component services, or maybe before that, in my computer, expand distributed transaction coordinator. Search for distributed. Okay, I think this is not the way. Let's check it the other links. My computer, expand distributed coordinator. No, here it is not there, right? So let's check for component services or laptop. No, there is no direct property, I guess. I think it should be. Once we enable that, then only this will work. So we'll see. Let's check it out, guys. I think here we have one more option, start settings. Start settings and then control panel. Yeah, here. And then administrative tools. Administrative tools. And then here, what should we look for?
Services.
Okay. We do have the service option here. Here.
Yeah, we have. Yes.
Distributor transaction coordinator. All right. So we should look for distributor transaction coordinator. Then maybe I'll just copy this one. It will be useful for everybody so that you can follow the same. Yeah. So services and then look for distributor transaction coordinator. So we'll look for that. Okay, administrative tools. Already we are there, right? So let's check that. So here we should look for distributed transaction coordinator. All right. So here it is. Right click on it and select start. I think it is in running mode only, right? Maybe let me stop it and then restart it. So I stopped it and then start. It started. Now let me execute the package. Save it. Right click and execute package. See, the first task ran fine. and then the second task got failed. So let's check our destination table whether data is there or not. Can you see still data is there, guys? Even though the delete command ran fine, but the other task got failed. Since the transaction is not complete, one of the transaction got failed, the previous transaction also will get rolled back if you use the transactions in SSIS. That is what happened. Even though the delete statement ran successfully, you can still see the data in destination table. Clear? Any questions, guys? And for enabling the transactions, see, once you enable the transactions here, and you need to set these options. Remember this one, right? Go to start settings, control panel, administrative tools, services, and then find for distributed transaction coordinator, like I did it, right? So refer the video and do it. Any questions, guys? And once you successfully execute, I'll show you that as well. And once you do it, maybe here, instead of loading data, I'll remove this one. Why? Because if I insert it, again, you can see the same number of records. It will insert the same number of records, right? So instead of inserting a data here, I'll just use select 0. So now what should happen if this executes successfully and the transaction should not roll back? All right. So that is what we need to check, which means the data should get deleted on the table. Both the tasks ran fine. And if you go to your table and check it, you cannot see data. Why? Because both the transaction task ran fine. That's the reason why you cannot see, you cannot roll back the data. Why? Because the transaction is complete, fully completed. If there is a partial transaction, like in the previous scenario, it got failed, the previous transaction also will get rolled back. So in interview, if they'll ask like, what are the transactions in SSIS? You can say we can achieve the transaction in SSIS by setting the options on the container level as a transaction option as required, and the task level we have to use the transaction option as supported. And they'll ask you what are the option, what they will do exactly, right? And the default option is supported, and which means if there is existing transaction in the package, it will utilize it. And if you use required, the transaction will get initiated. That's the reason why on the container level, we have to use required option, and at the task level, we have to use supported. Why? Because in the container level, the transaction will get initiated, the task will utilize the existing transaction. Any questions, guys?
Amar, when can we face this kind of scenarios exactly? Like
Yeah,
just
if you
delete it.
correct. If you feel like if there is a dependency and if you lose the data, you cannot roll back it. Like, see, you are loading a data here. Before loading, if we are deleting it here. Why am I rollbacking it again? Why? Because since there is a dependency between these two tasks, which I'm inserting data, and if I'm unable to insert, and I lost both the operations, right? The existing data, I'll lose it, and then the current loading part also, I'll lose it.
Okay.
Yeah, mostly we'll use it in the banking transactions. Like you can see it. See, let's say if you go to an ATM, so sometimes we'll withdraw the amount and the cash will get stuck, right? And immediately you'll receive a message saying that amount got deducted, but actually the cash did not dispense, right? And after some time you can see the transaction is reversed. So that is what it will happen here in real time. In the banking projects, we'll use that transactions.
Okay.
Yeah. And with this, SSIS is completed, guys. And the next topic in SSIS, the final one, is performance tuning of SSIS. Performance tuning of SSIS. All right. So what exactly the performance in SSIS is nothing but, see, when you're running a package, usually it is taking less time. Okay. And suddenly all of a sudden it is running for long time. What exactly you need to do, right? The first thing is you have to check, is there any transaction, is there any, what is that? Indexes are there in your destination table, right? if indexes are there, if it is running for long time, so as I told you, right? So first you need to drop the index. Load data and then recreate index. This is one thing we have to do. And if there is no index, we have to check whether you have used fast load option here or not, the destination. In your destination, always use fast load option so that the data will load faster than the usual. And make sure here rows per batch you have increased it to 1 lakh. Why? Because by default the data insertion will be 10,000 only, and also change the maximum insert commit size as well to 1 lakh. Rows per batch to 1 lakh means at a time from source it will fetch 1 lakh and it will insert into the destination. If you set 1 lakh, not exactly 1 lakh records will get inserted. It may insert up to 90 to 95,000. But if you did not set this option 1 lakh, at a time only 10,000 rows will pick it from here and load, pick 10,000 and load it, right? So if you use this option to 1 lakh at a time, you can fetch the 1 lakh records at a time from the source, which is 10 times faster than the usual, right? So always try to use rows per batch to 1 lakh. And also for that, you need to set the control flow property as well for this task to here maximum buffer rows. So this also here you should increase to 1 lakh. Okay. So that the data will load or retrieve at a time 1 lakh records from source and it will insert into the destination, right? And one more thing is, if let's say there are multiple tasks within a package, right? And if you are running sequentially, here we are running sequentially, right? If there is no dependency between the tasks in the control flow, try to execute parallel execution. See here, this task is parallel, this one is parallel, this one is parallel, this one is parallel, but these two containers are sequential, and these two also sequential, right? So if you are running tasks or containers sequentially, try to check the dependency between these two containers. If there is no dependency between these two containers, run them parallelly so that you can save a lot of time. And you will get a doubt how many tasks it will run parallelly at a time, right? This will be interview question, guys. How many tasks it can see as of now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tasks are there. Can all the 7 tasks run at a time parallelly? And these two are sequential easier, right? These two, this one and this one. Do you think 7 will run? No. At a time, the parallel execution is number of processors plus 2. If it is 4 processor, 6 tasks will get run, right? So number of processors plus 2 equals to number of parallel execution of tasks. You have to say this one in interview. How many tasks you can run parallel means number of processors plus 2. If they 4 processors, 4 plus 2, 6 tasks it can run parallelly. And try to avoid, this is one thing, and try to avoid blocking transformations. So there are blocking versus non-blocking. And same thing we'll call the other naming for this is synchronous versus asynchronous. This is also another terminology we'll use. Blocking and synchronous, non-blocking and then asynchronous, which means, see, blocking will come under blocking transformations are nothing but sort and aggregate, merge also. Why merge means, for merge we have to use sort, right? That is the reason why. And why it will come under blocking transformation means, I explained you while explaining about the sort transformation, right? So if let's say 1, 5, 7, 9, 10, 2, these are the records we have it. So for sorting, it has to, let's say you are doing sorting descending, right? So first it has to read all this data into a buffer memory, right? And then it will apply the sorting. If it is descending, then it will calculate, okay, first 10 has to come, and then 9, and then 7, then 5, then 2, then 1. All right. So it has to wait until these two operation completes. Once it is completed, then only the sort will respond. Same aggregation also, aggregate operation, right? So that's why we'll call these transformation will call it as a blocking or synchronous transformations. Give the same explanation, guys. It has to wait until the operation has to perform. So this will come under block transformations, blocking, sort, aggregate, and then merge. So this will be interview question, remember. And then non-blocking transformations are nothing but union all. What are other? Lookup, right? So SCD, you can say data conversion as well. So all those comes under non-blocking derived column. Multicast, right? So this will come under non-blocking transformations. This is one more performance point of view. And what else? And always use checkpoints for better restartability of the package. But also you can say, all right? And if your source is text file and the data of the file is huge, try to use what is the alternative for data DFT of source is text file. Which task we need to use? Bulk insert.
Bulk insert.
Yeah. So use bulk insert if the source is a text file and data is huge. If it is taking more time, try to use the bulk insert task. So these are the 5 to 6 tips you can tell in the interview. If they'll ask like, what is the performance tuning of SSIS? And directly they can ask you what are blocking or non-blocking, or what are synchronous and asynchronous transformations. All right. Any questions, guys? Okay, if not, quickly I'll tell you the interview questions, and then we'll connect tomorrow for SSRS. Okay. SSIS, and they'll ask you like difference between control flow versus data flow, and then difference between merge versus union all, and then what are checkpoints. They can ask you directly about checkpoints, or if I want to start from the point of failure, what I need to do in exercise, they can ask you either way, right? And performance tuning of SSIS. All right. How do you loop multiple files in SSIS? This is one more thing by using for each loop, right? And the file system task you can easily answer. And deployment, types of deployment. And then package configurations. How do you schedule SSIS package? Right? And what is SCD, lookup? They can ask you, mostly they'll ask you conditional split and multicast. Yeah. And what else? I think mostly that's it in SSIS. And then containers, types of containers. Yeah. I think these are the interview questions in SSIS they'll ask you mostly, and try to prepare. And also each and every topic I'll be telling, right, interview point of view, read that as well. Okay. And yeah, that's it, guys. That's it with the SSIS. And then from tomorrow onwards, we'll start SSRS. And if I get in again, I'll tell you the any exercise interview questions in between. Okay. And if you have any questions, please let me know, guys, and I'll explain you.